Day.
We don't just have to keep our heads above.
Welcome to the most exciting breakfast show in all of the land. If you're looking to be informed, kept abreast with everything that's happening around you, you've certainly come to the right place. My name is Helen Apia Ampofo. Today promises to be a great day. Today is the 5th day in the 7th month in the year 2023. It is a glorious, glorious Wednesday morning. And we're about to get stuck straight in. Let's check in now with Felicity Ahafionyo. She is a chief forecaster with the Ghana Met. She'll let us know what to expect by way of weather. Is it going to be an umbrella day? Let's find out. Felicity, hello, good morning. Hope you are well.
Good morning, Helen. Yes, I am better today than yesterday. I
Lovely.
hope you are too.
I'm doing very well, but of course, nothing $1 million, wouldn't solve.
Yeah.
But I digress. What should we expect today by way of weather? It's starting to look a bit cloudy. Should we expect some rain?
Yes, good morning to our dear listeners. For today, we expect the entire country to remain cloudy, dull this morning, with light rain or drizzle over the southern sector. Those of us in Greater Accra, we are likely to have light rain or drizzle. From the pressure charts, it's nothing to worry our heads about because pressures are a bit high, so it will just sustain the cloudiness, and if anything, just light rain or drizzle will affect us. For the afternoon, we expect the sun to break through, and then later we expect some localized rain and thunder formations over some places. We are anticipating ISO to scattered cases, and it's likely those of us slightly north of the coastline may also be affected. Over the north, we are expecting isolated cases for the day, and that's in the afternoon. In terms of the sea, we still expect it to be rough, so fisher folks need to be extra careful. This is the time that we will start having the upwelling, so they should be extra careful. It's rough, so that we are still monitoring. If it's going to be dangerous, we will let them know. For the Volta Lake, no massive rainstorm is coming in today except the cloudiness, and there's some little windy conditions, and then it's likely that by night time, visibilities are likely to go a little bit down night to tomorrow morning. So they want to do night fishing on the Volta Lake, they have to be a bit careful because of mist and fog patches. Temperatures will be a bit uniform across the 16 regions. We are expecting it around 31 degrees Celsius. So this is how we are expecting it to be. If there's going to be any drastic change, we'll definitely release a weather warning.
Sure thing. Thank you so much for that, Felicity. Do have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
And that was Felicity Ahafionyo, chief forecaster with the Ghana Met, letting us know what to expect. And as she says, if there are any drastic changes, we will let you know. And you can find that out on our socials. We post that on there. We are at 3FM 92.7 across the board. Find us on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on Twitter. The hashtag that we're using this morning is hashtag 3FM Sunrise. Get involved in the conversation. We do this in tandem with you. We appreciate all of your thoughts, comments, your suggestions, even your questions. Do keep them coming.
3FM Sunrise. 3FM Morning Show. 3FM 92.7. 3FM, your urban lifestyle radio. 3FM Sunrise. 3FM Morning Show. 3FM 92.7.
3FM Sunrise.
All right. Ooh, yeah. Well, oh, yeah. Here we go, y'all.
Sunrise on
3 FM.
Those of y'all who feel like you're struggling. Yeah, it's a simple song.
Today is a good day to have a good day. Today is a good day to have a good day, to have a great day. In fact, Samuel, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Queen of the Airwaves.
I love that.
Your voice is so soothing and so comforting in the morning when you even wake up with your problems, carried through from the previous night, and you hear Helen's voice. You say, "Woo!"
Wow.
Yeah, today is a good day
to have a good day.
I love that. I love that punchline.
Yeah,
seriously,
it's a good day to have
a good day is today, and today is
a good day. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. If you've only just tuned in, you've joined the best breakfast show in all of the land, if we do say so ourselves. Very shortly, we'll be getting into the news review, taking a look at what the dailies have in store for us this morning. A lot more conversation, of course, coming your way. For my early risers, do check out 3news.com. We have all the latest in business, sports, world news, politics, you name it. Troubling news there on the home page. In Ghanaian 22 allegedly shot dead by security of illegal Chinese miners. You can get the full scoop there on this unfortunate story on 3news.com. A lot trending yesterday on the internet. Depression is trending number 2, Samuel. Off the back of the news that hit us, a male student of KNUST attempted suicide. We're told at the Brunei complex. The student has been saved and well. The actual cause of the attempt is yet unknown. I saw some popular bloggers, if you will, weighing in on the conversation and asking about depression, the young ones, like what is troubling you, those of you at uni. And there's one particular quite prominent social media figure, blogger, personality who posed that question, and the responses were really, really heartbreaking. The question was, young ones in uni, especially the young men, what do you do when you're feeling overwhelmed and you don't feel great or depression sets in? And a lot of them said, well, some of them had some good responses. They say, oh, I have some Paddy B, I call him, and then we just say, bay 10 times. I thought that's not a bad way to, boost morale. Others said, just find some gobe, sit somewhere and just try and, encourage yourself. And others said, we are suffering in silence. Yeah. We don't really see a way out of what we're going through. I thought that was sad.
This is a very good time for each and everyone to be his or her brother or sister's keeper.
Correct.
It's very, very important. This is a time you need to check up on people. So now it's like when someone calls me and asks for 50 cedis momo, 100 cedis momo, I am so eager to make sure that at all costs I should be able to send the person that money, because you don't know what can happen next.
That's right.
Seriously, the system is hard.
Very
and
hard.
for the life on campus, life on campus could be very, very expensive. I remember those days in Legon when they were selling a loaf of bread for 1 cedi outside. Like if you go to Ponglo, if you go to the across the street, it's 1 Ghana cedi. You enter
for the whole loaf, you mean?
Yes. If you enter the campus, no pay, it's 1 cedi 20 pesos.
Campus tax.
Yes. So, it's some way. And I think that we should be able to open up, speak to people. But you should be mindful who you are going to speak with. There are people who are really suffering, but they are holding the most expensive of phones.
Got it.
Recently, a lady was crying and called my friend. So I don't know what to do. My heart. And I asked, what happened? Said someone has stolen her iPhone, Z12 or some the latest one. And I quite remember when the lady had the phone, and she told us. I told her that, Charlie, you have a budding business. You are a national service personnel.
Right.
And you have a budding business. Why don't you sell this phone? I learned the price is about 13,000 or so. And invest the 10,000 in your business and use the 3,000 to buy another phone. The lady didn't bother. He said, oh, someone gave to me as a gift, so I have to use it. So the person, and now
the phone is gone.
And it's giving her high blood pressure. So there's some of the pressure that we bring upon ourselves. So we should be tailored in how we balance ourselves in the system. Everybody is managing. In this system, if you don't manage, you damage.
If you don't manage, you'll damage. Let me say good morning to Mr. Siedu. William is in the building.
The main man.
I thought we would kick things off on that note because yesterday I was observing what was going on online, and I'm not surprised that you have those two topics trending. You have depression trending, KNUST, a lot of you weighing in on that. We'll talk about that, of course, as we progress. But let's take a look at the front pages of the various newspapers that we have this morning. I've got the Daily Guide and the Ghanaian Times in front of me. The Daily Guide has this to say: Kafaba witch killers jailed 24 years. And if you recall, back in 2020, this was near and dear to our hearts. We partnered with the Sani Institute to really talk about this issue of alleged witches. And we didn't even focus just on what happens up north, even down south here. And you heard, if you recall, this is of course 3 years ago, the harrowing account of another young lady down south here who was taken to a Christian camp, if you will, subjected to the same sort of treatment that we see up north. The conversation really doesn't end up north. It permeates the entire country, this sort of practice of tagging certain individuals in our society as witches and then subjecting them to beating, lynching, all sorts of rituals in a bid to, as we say, exorcise whatever demon or witchcraft is within them. This case, we'll talk about it as we progress and get some updates. I was following the case, or at least the updates as and when they came. The case dragged. At some point, the lead, a suspect stroke person being prosecuted, they alleged that she was pregnant and the case was stalling. Well, the wheels of justice, they grind slowly, but they've come to a halt. We have a 24-year sentence. We'll get into that. Nana opens new Kwame Nkrumah Park. If you go to our socials, you can go and look at the visuals. We give you a sneak peek as to what it looks like inside. Minority blackmails government. It's on the front page of the Daily Guide. The minority says they will not be participating in certain business of the house. We'll talk about it as we progress. Airbus saga, OSB contacts Interpol UK over Mahama. Let's head to the Ghanaian Times and see what the front page has to say. President inaugurates new Nkrumah Mausoleum. 3.5 million funded redeveloped park equipped with facilities. Now there's also a library, we know. Minority serves notice to boycott parliamentary proceedings in solidarity with colleagues facing criminal prosecution. They have a job to do. They have a job to do. Anyway, we'll dissect that. I'm keen to hear your thoughts. Government owes pension schemes 2.6 billion, finance minister reveals. In fact, he was celebrating the July 4th festivities. If you listen to the 6 a.m. bulletin, you can hear his thoughts on the DDEP. And behind, I could hear somebody announcing, we got the food ready, there's drinks ready. I say, hey, come on.
He was chilling in
America,
in Ghana.
America and Ghana, I could hear him talking about how difficult the DDEP was. But in the background, brass band, there's food, let's drink. Let me say, hey! Anyway, that's what I have for you on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. Lastly, actually, AG cautions public against prejudicing criminal prosecutions. I think we were able to slice and dice some of that issue, but it's still prominent this morning. Gentlemen.
Okay, so the Finder, the front page has similar stories. Magnificent Nkrumah Park opens, projected to attract over 1 million tourists each year. That's the Finder for you. And also the publisher, Nkrumah's family falls in love with the Kufuor. Hey, I see. NPA shut down 16 illegal fuel stations in Upper East region. NDC MPs to boycott parliament on days Kwesi goes to court.
The Daily Graphic this morning, Kufuor resurrects Nkrumah, renovated Memorial Park opens, and AG decries public commentary on court cases. 13 regions take drugs against river blindness and elephantiasis. Jechi sworn in as MP. The center spread has beautiful photos of the newly developed Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park and some old photos, so they are just showing the old and the new on the spread of the Daily Graphic. On the back page of the Daily Graphic, Stanbic Bank supports University of Ghana's STEM education program, and Communications Ministry trains 9,000 girls in ICT.
Well, let me say the center spread has some pictures, some photos. What do you make of this renovated?
Yeah. I mean, it's a worthwhile investment because this is an investment that will repay itself over a period, short term, mid term, and these are the kind of things that we expect, the state to invest in, so that at every point we are getting our money back. And I also want to congratulate the MPP government on the way they are handling the tourism sector. It's been very fantastic. I mean, year of return in Nkrumah Park, and they have a lot of things that they are doing in the tourism space.
I agree.
During the week before, I think Monday or Tuesday, I was lucky to meet the minister in the run-up to this opening. And some of the plans that they have on the table, if they carry them through, I think will make a lot of headway in the tourism sector.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree. I think some good strides are being made. Unfortunately, though, there was a story that broke just very recently, a few days ago. An American filmmaker by the name of Angela. She was speaking at the
Yes,
Essence
I
Festival
heard it yesterday.
about some of the frustrations that were
Yeah,
faced.
yeah.
And a friend of mine was actually on that project, and she's going to be speaking on a space we'll be hosting. This is just by the wayside. If you're interested, we'll talk about it before. I'll tell you all about it before I leave this morning. If you want to know more about what we're doing with our entertainment segment, the 3 Entertainment team has been working hard on promoting conversations that will help us find a way forward and learn from each other. But she was talking about how some of the frustrations she went
Yeah.
through in shooting and
Yeah.
executing the film has led her to take the monies
To South
elsewhere,
Africa.
to
She
South
mentioned
Africa.
South Africa, and I was quite. This is some of the things we need to do. We have to look at the bureaucracy
Yes.
and the way it works for some of these investors. Because
Yeah.
if an investor is coming to town, you can see he's ready or she's ready with money or with some expertise. We should give.
Yes.
Because, something must give for us to have this. Even the skills that they are bringing.
Yes.
There must be a deliberate effort to develop across the board, not just in terms of infrastructure, but in terms of private investment. Because
Yeah.
if you look at countries like Malta, if you go to Mauritius, you go to Seychelles, they are investing heavily in tourism. Sometimes you go there, you don't have to get a visa, you get visa on arrival.
Yeah.
They give you some tax rebates because tourism can overtake everything that we're doing, because now
Definitely.
cocoa is going down, gold, we did well the last time, but how sustainable is that? Because tourism is very low hanging in terms of ready investment and ready revenue for us. So
Yeah.
it's something that the government should listen to people like that, especially
sure.
when we are doing the year of return and trying to bring them back to support the economy through tourism. It's something that we have. Yesterday I listened to it was not a palatable story at all.
At all. And in fact, as I mentioned, we're going to be expanding that conversation tomorrow evening on Twitter. For those of you who are interested in tourism, these sorts of conversations, I'll tell you exactly how you can hear from the horse's own mouth. We'll have her account of what happened, and we'll chart the way forward. When I was in Namibia, and they also have their own challenges. They have vast desert land. Some incredible movies have been shot there. Mad Max Fury, if you know that film where they are on the quad bikes on the desert. Other films, Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, and some incredible things that they did when they left the country. They left the containers that they used,
Yes,
some of
yes.
the equipment, and they've set up a beautiful library that has been thriving now for almost 10 years. So this is the ripple effect of having a strong tourism sector. But even them, they say their space is not devoid of bureaucracy. They lost out
Yes,
on a
yes,
huge movie because somebody was doing a cobra and a fawebra.
Yeah.
So in Africa, our problems are sometimes quite similar. Let's move on to politics now. The Ghanaian Times, page 11, carries the story. Minority serves notice to boycott parliamentary proceedings in solidarity with colleagues facing criminal prosecution. The minority has served notice it would henceforth boycott all proceedings of parliament in court sitting days to support their colleagues who are facing criminal prosecution. Would you be happy for your MP to be absent on a working day so that they can go to court to support their comrade?
Alan, as for the absenteeism in Parliament, it's something that is there.
Well, even without this solidarity,
Yes,
this case.
yes, we've seen on a number of occasions on TV.
In
and,
fact,
you
recently,
know,
Yasin North, when they were and the elections were ongoing, the by-elections were ongoing, there was actually work to be done in Parliament. If you were watching TV3, we showed that there was nobody, in fact, there. They boycotted that to be in Yasin North.
Yeah, so it's something. There's something with the Parliament, but then solidarity is very, very important in politics, and whatever they are doing in Parliament is a game of numbers, and they think that if that is the way they can tow in order to ensure that their colleague is given the peace of mind to do his work as a parliamentarian, that's what they want to do. It's politics, and for me, it will not augur well for the entire country
That's right.
But they are also looking at their party's interest. They are all there because of their political party. So today, if an MP decides that, okay, I no more want to belong to the MPP, today, no, that person needs to leave the parliament. But yes, because you are there on the ticket of the party. So if you are no more a member of the party, you cannot be in parliament.
This is something that we discuss quite often when we talk about parliamentary proceedings. As an MP, of course, we know that you are there on the ticket of your party. They've probably supported you money-wise, otherwise, in getting you there. But you've been elected by the members of your constituency to carry out a certain mandate.
Yes.
And we saw that when the NPP MPs wanted Ken Ofori-Atta out, and I think that conversation really took center stage. Okay, the party then says to them, don't toe this line, just let things be, let the IMF deal go through, and then we can discuss those matters. But then these people represent their constituency, and the constituency members might overwhelmingly have a different opinion. In that case, as an MP, where are you going?
Helen, have you ever been consulted by your MP?
As a
constituency, that MP will come and say, oh, Nyaso Tom, this is the decision you want to take in Parliament. I want to solicit your views.
Never.
Or, you know, so it doesn't happen like that. You know, so I always say that in most instances, the MPs, they represent their views and opinions and that of their party.
Not that of their constituency.
No, of their constituency.
Because, you know, they also go into the constituency. They can gauge the temperature. They would have spoken with the people in the constituency. They know what is going on. They know the feeling. They know the vibe. Even without calling a town hall meeting, they are very aware of the situation, of the cries, the calls.
I mean, so it's politics. I mean, all the individuals in the House, the 275 of them are all politicians.
That's right.
And what is playing out is not a parliamentary activity, it's just politics. That's number one. Number two, the core function of an MP, they say, is to make laws. But I think that the representation is key. So now if the people of Assin North are going through this all over the years, I mean, they've had issues with their MP, he's not being represented. Yesterday, the Queen Mother was making the call that they need representation in Parliament. So maybe the minority is pushing that to get representation for the people of Assin North. Because at the end of the day, if this gentleman is going to keep going in and out of Parliament, the representation will be lost. So at the end of the day, the party is taking a stance on the matter and saying, look, if you are going to keep one of us out, we have 137. And if this trial is going to take him out, then means the majority is going to have a leeway anytime there's a matter before the House. So we are at a disadvantage already if this case is going to go.
Right.
Because if there's a vote on a certain matter, he will be in court. They won't be there to vote. So whatever it is, whether they go with him to court or they don't go with him to court, they are going to lose.
Right.
So they are using that to push the political agenda.
Okay. I think that perspective makes
because
sense.
If the independent candidate has declared that he's going to be on the side of the MPP anytime there's a vote,
right,
and then Mr. Kwesing, Honorable Kwesing, is also going to be outside the House when there's a vote, then already the NDC is going to lose. So whether they take this action or not, so far as the court case keep running, they would always miss out on the votes.
Fair.
So they are taking advantage of that situation to also register their political statement and say, look, what you guys are doing, we are not in favor, and we are going to go with all three of our members, especially Mr. Kwesing. Anytime he goes to court, we'll go with him. We won't be in the House because his absence anyway is going to affect us. So our absence is going to be amount to nothing anyway. So that's what they're doing.
Well, Minority Leader Dr. Forson said the move is to demonstrate against the persecution of their members. Mr. Speaker, I'm quoting him here. Mr. Speaker, I wish to serve notice that the entire minority group in Parliament will accompany our colleague to court today and any other day he is to appear in court. We are solidarizing with our colleague and will not participate in the business of the House anytime our colleague is in court. We are therefore withdrawing from the chamber after this to accompany our colleague to the court. So this is the reason for which they are doing this. We'll keep our eyes and ears on this one. Of course, more dissection as the show goes on. The center spread has these stories also. MPP vets 6 presidential aspirants, 3 more to be vetted today. I think we spoke about that yesterday. So we know that Alan Tremanting had gone through the vetting, Mr. Kwadwo Poku as well as the vice president. Well, a total of 6 presidential hopefuls vying for the flag bearer of the MPP have been vetted by the 9-member vetting committee chaired by Professor Michael Kwe as of yesterday at the party's headquarters. And so they list that there, and 3
I think there
more
was this
today.
story you mentioned in the headlines, the lynching of the 90-year-old and the sentences of the
Let's get
corporate.
into that. Let's get into that. So it's captured on page 6 of the Daily Guide. Kafaba witch killers jailed 24 years. The Tamale High Court has sentenced Sherina Mohammed, aka Hajia Filipina, 40 years old, and Latifa Bumaye, 25, to a combined 24 years imprisonment for the gruesome lynching of Ikea Dente on suspicion of witchcraft at Kafaba near East Gonja municipality of the Savannah region. The 2 were initially charged with the murder and trial by ordeal, but the murder charge was later changed to manslaughter following an application by their counsel. Of course, manslaughter is a lesser charge than murder. Okay. Though they had pleaded not guilty, they later changed their pleas to guilty to the 2 counts and were convicted on their pleas. The court presided over by Justice Richard Kujakpa sentenced them to 12 years imprisonment on each count. The sentences are to run concurrently, so they will both serve 12 years in jail. Now, for the uninitiated, in July 2020, the gruesome lynching of Ikea Dente on suspicion on witchcraft, which sparked outrage, occurred at Kafaba near Salaga in the East Gonja municipality of the Savannah region. Some 7 persons were arrested in connection of the gruesome lynching at the time. The executive director of the Songtaba, Madame Lamnatu Adam, has commended the court for finally pronouncing judgment on the case and giving the late Ikea Dente justice.
Yes, so yesterday people were asking why the matter went on the manslaughter route instead of murder. I think it was because of the intention. The act was a guilty act. So then, of course, they were in court. But it was supposed to, the prosecution was supposed to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the individuals had the intention to kill Ikea Dente. It was a trial by ordeal. That's what happened. So maybe they were not able to establish the intention to commit murder.
Right.
But once there's death, whatever it is, manslaughter will flow. So that explains why the murder charge was maybe changed to manslaughter, because the intention to murder was not established. But once there's death, whatever it is, there's the circumstances and the evidence before the court indicated that they could have prevented that death, and for which reason they will get the manslaughter charge and the conviction and the sentence that came with it. So that's. But at the core of that matter, I see poverty and ignorance, because you mention certain areas in this country, and especially in the cities, you will not hear any story about witchcrafts or witches. That's a given. There are some places in this country you will never hear that a certain old lady or old man in this area is a wizard or a witch. You won't hear. It is always in these poverty-stricken areas where there's ignorance, where there's a lot of people who are not lettered to understand a few things about life. Somebody is old, the person is suffering from dementia and all kinds of ailments, and so the person is acting a certain way because of ignorance and poverty. You think the person is a witch or a wizard. The old lady will see an old lady, she'll be looking at you straight in the face without talking for a moment, and you get agitated because you think the old lady is hypnotizing you or doing something to you. Then it sparks those kind of violent acts. It's just poverty. So if we're able to spread the advocacy wide and far, and also spread poverty, poverty alleviation, operations or whatever it is that the government has, plans, policies across the board, I think this will come down.
I agree. In 2020, we had extensive engagement with Professor Azuma, and he is the executive director of the Sani Institute, and he's made it his life's mission, his life's work to educate on these happenings. He spent a lot of time up north and has chronicled many reasons for which